T-minus 4 minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, YouTube? Happy Saturday to everybody. Hope you guys are having a really good weekend so far. As you can see, we have our good friend Jay with us. How are you doing today, Jay?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Awesome. You guys all in the room, let me know if you can't hear Jay. Looks like his audio is coming through, no problem. So hopefully you guys can hear everything. We're not having any technical difficulties today. Dave, welcome. Mr. Merrick, welcome. I'm glad you guys could join us. So for those of you that don't know, Jay's been a friend and a client of ours here at Federal Prison Time with RDAP for going on, what was it, January? Jay, is that when you found me?
Yep, last January. I found you actually in October, November, but I actually talked to you for the first time in January.
Okay, so you started watching us back in October of 2016, and then you finally reached out in January of 2017. So just to give you all a little bit of feedback and rundown of where we're at, why we're interviewing Jay today. So Jay was originally looking at some pretty serious time. He was originally looking at about 10 years in federal prison. So Jay was arrested on May 17th by local police, and he was arrested for possession of a pill press, for 2 distribution sales of 1 for 30 pills, 1 for 15 pills, and for about 92 grams of heroin. So there is a backstory to this. So Jay, tell us just a little bit and about how this started and how you originally got arrested by the local police.
I tried to help a friend out. He said I wasn't in the business anymore of doing the fake pills, but I helped him out with a 30 pill count he needed for his doctor, and then I did it one more time for him, and about a week later my house got raided by the state police.
So you were producing, at one point you were producing fake pills. What kind of pills were you producing? What were these fake prescription pills?
Oxycodone, 30 milligram.
So you're producing fake oxycodone, and I guess what had happened, you explained to me in the past, somebody that you knew was also making pills with the same pill press, and they were using heroin within the mix of the pills that they were producing. You didn't know that there was heroin in this mix. So when they actually tested these pills, they tested positive for heroin, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this was in May of 2016, and this was just by the local police, and you were brought into the police station at that point?
Yes, I was processed. They charged me with a delivery charge of oxycodone. I was released out on personal recognizance, and about 6 months went by before I heard anything.
So 6 months had gone by. It was just a local charge at this point. You had an attorney that you went and hired, correct?
Yes.
And you hired this attorney in case it got more serious and you needed to have an attorney on retainer.
Correct.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I paid him $2,200 just to have him on retainer, and almost 6 months went by, and he told me you're not going to be charged, or we'll have to drop the charges.
So what happened 6 months later?
I was working on my food truck, and the state trooper called me and said he had to talk to me. Long story short, they met me on the route, and they told me that they weren't charging me with the charges, but the federal government is, and they federally indicted me.
And what day was this?
September 26th was an indictment, which I didn't know about, and they put a warrant out for me on the 27th.
And what was the actual indictment for?
Well, they tested the powder when they raided my house. I had some powder, which I didn't know it had heroin in it. It was 90 grams of blue powder, which had a little residue of heroin in it. So they charged me with the whole thing as heroin, 92 grams, and possession of a pill press.
So 92 grams of heroin and a possession of a pill press. And this carried, what, up to a 10-year federal sentence, correct, if you were to take this to trial?
Correct.
And at this point, you were also unwilling to cooperate. They wanted you to give them names of where the powder could have possibly come from, and you were not willing to cooperate at this point, were you?
No.
Now, the attorney that you had hired, that you put on retainer, so I'm assuming you called him to let him know, hey, the feds have just picked up these charges. So what happened when you called the attorney?
The original attorney I hired told me he don't do federal, and basically told me to shop around after I paid.
So this money that you paid ultimately ended up not being able to be used towards your legal defense on the federal case.
Correct. And he said that was a retainer fee, and I wasn't getting it back.
Now, did you know that he could not help you if this went federal at the time of the indictment? I mean, at the time of hiring him?
No, I had no idea. And I never even thought it would go that high. I didn't think they were going to make a federal case out of that.
So once you started getting into this process, you went and found yourself an attorney, I'm assuming, correct?
Correct. I had originally the lawyer didn't come down the day I got indicted. So I had a public defender the first day in the pre-conference trial, like when they arraigned me.
Right.
And then after that, I got some legal advice, and I thought it was in my best interest to hire a private attorney, and that's what we did.
So when you hired the private attorney, at what point did you decide it was going to be in your best interest to try to take a plea bargain with the feds?
When they told me that if I didn't take a plea, they were going to give me the max.
Of what, 10 years?
Yeah, they told me if I took a deal that they would give me the minimum mandatory, the guideline recommend, whatever the guidelines were. Now,
you didn't have a minimum mandatory. You're talking about the actual guideline range, right? And if I remember correctly, your guideline range was 33 to 51 months?
Correct.
So by accepting the plea, which did not require you to give them additional information, but by accepting the plea and admitting guilt that you were doing what they said you were doing, they were willing to cooperate and recommend that you only get sentenced to the minimum guidelines, which would have been roughly about 33 months.
That's correct.
When did you accept the plea?
We went out, it was May 2007.
May of 2017 is when you accepted the plea?
Correct.
So what was going through your mind at this point?
A lot of anxiety. I just basically admitted to the charges of distribution of heroin, even though I wasn't aware of it was all heroin in that powder. But basically, I took the full responsibility for everything. It was in my possession, and basically, I wanted to move on from it.
Now, when you say you're going through anxiety, you were really dealing with a lot, because I remember you actually took to YouTube just like I did to try to deal with some of your stress and just putting your story out there to vent. If at the very least, even if nobody was listening, it just made you feel better to do it. And so now, when was your once you took your plea, you were expecting you were going to get sentenced. When was your original sentence set for?
Set for August 11th. Then a week before sentence, they pushed it back to September 8th. Okay,
so you had an August 11th sentence coming up. I think before we go, hi, bless this mess, Dave, Robert, how you guys all doing? Welcome. Before we go any further, I want to show you a little bit of what Jay was going through, because Jay was posting stuff to YouTube. So I put some of the videos together just because I know a lot of you are also going through this, and I think a lot of you will be able to relate to this. So it's only it's a couple minutes long. It's a little compilation of videos that he's done. Jay, if you want to listen to the videos, go ahead and put your headphones on, because I'd like you to be able to comment on what took place after this and where your mind was. So we're going to go ahead and play these videos, guys. Here we go.
Good morning. Today is August 3rd, 2017, and I am 1 week away from getting sentenced to federal prison, and I am really nervous, jittery, aggravated, all your emotions in one. The biggest thing is not knowing what your future is for the next couple of years, if your life's going to be on hold, if I'm going to get probation. So basically, I did everything I could, and it's in the judge's hand now. I did all the programs they wanted, counseling. I had all my letters written by one of the best prison consultants I think is in the business. And that's a shout out to rdapdan. He's on YouTube. So if you guys are watching this video and looked it up, you'll probably already have seen his videos. So basically, I'm looking at 41 to 51 months is the guidelines. I will come back on August 11th and let you know how I make out.
Good morning. Today is August 11th.
and I'm on my way to sentencing. Not got postponed to September 8th. So let the federal games begin. Unbelievable. I'm all prepared and in the right mindset to get it done today. And my lawyer emails me, tells me it's postponed. Now, he didn't call me, he emailed me. I called him to find out what time we're supposed to be in court. And he tells me, I emailed you. I don't even have a computer because when the cops came in, they thought I had ledgers of drug transactions on my computer. So my life is on hold for another 3 weeks to find out what's going on. That's about it. So I don't even know if I'm going to be around for Christmas. And that's sad, you know. I don't know if I'm going to be here for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I will come back on September 8th and let you know how I make out at federal sentencing. Good morning. Today is August 13th. And I got about another 3 weeks before I go get sentenced to federal prison. And it got postponed. I was supposed to go August 11th. As you guys are aware, that's seen my last video. It just sucks. And I kind of go on this YouTube event and just talk about it. Other people are probably going through it too. I don't know if everybody goes through it. But I got a call yesterday. My friend had Patriot tickets for a game in November. And he wanted to know if I wanted to go. You know what I told him? I don't know if I can go. Because I don't know if I'm going to be around to go. Kind of sad. Like right now, like everything in my life is on hold. But I still got to go through my daily routines. Which sucks. Because I don't know. I'm supposed to just be normal. And I can't be normal. It's not easy to deal with. I want to buy a house, and that's on hold because I don't know if I'm going to be around to pay the mortgage. So meanwhile, what do I do? My family just, oh, I'll be back, just take care of yourselves. It sucks. Good morning, or afternoon. Today is September 8th, 2017. I guess I'm feeling pretty good. I just got out of court yesterday. The prosecutor was trying to put me away for 33 months. And my lawyer fought for me. I told him I was on a successful treatment. I was doing good. I had all positive things. My letters all looked good. The judge read all my letters. And thank you to RDAP for helping me and for coaching me what to do. The judge had a heart. He was a good judge. And he told the prosecutor, by putting me in prison, what is that going to accomplish? The prosecutor just kept rambling on, and the judge kept telling him that science doesn't back up his facts. He's calling me, the prosecutor was actually calling me a junkie to the judge, and I don't think the judge liked that. Come on, you don't talk to people about people like that in front of him. I had my family there. The judge said by me sending this man to prison, it's not going to benefit him. They don't have programs in prison for people with opiates that are getting help now, and just to shut them off from the help and put them in prison is not going to help them. So he's going to do some more research, the judge said, and he's not going to make a decision today. He's going to come back in 8 to 9 weeks, and revisit it. He wants to do some homework and research on treatments in prison, which they don't have. All right, I will check back in probably a couple months, maybe a couple weeks, let you know how everything is going. And
all right, so clearly there was a lot going on in your mind, and the reason why I really wanted to show that video, Jay, was I remember when I was going through this, I remember people asking me, hey, we're going on this trip, or hey, we're going to be going here in a couple months. Do you want us to get you a ticket? And I remember thinking to myself, I would love to be able to say, yes, I can go, but I honestly don't know what my future holds. I don't know how much prison time I'm going to get. I don't know when it's going to happen. And there's always a start and stop. It seems like the system is always pushing dates back. I know you finally got sentenced, so we are going to talk about your sentence in a minute and let everybody know how much time you actually did get sentenced to. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And you were sentenced, what, just last week finally, right? Last Tuesday.
Yeah, actually, this Tuesday just passed.
Oh, just this past Tuesday. So even though
Right.
you've finally been sentenced, you actually had that day and you were sentenced, but there's a relief, correct? Because now you know what's ahead of you. How good did it feel to get sentenced?
Like a 500-pound weight off my back.
So tell me a little bit about how you were feeling during the time when you were making those videos. What was the real cause? What pushed you to make those videos?
I just felt like I had a vent, talk this, like, even if I'm talking to myself, just go into emotions, tell everybody how I felt. Whoever watched it, if it helped somebody else out, it was more power to them.
Yeah, Christina just commented. She said it's exactly how she feels. She said, great video of expressing your fears. And it's exactly what it is it's expressing what you're going through. We try to bottle this stuff in and we try to go out and talk to friends and family about it. And it's like nobody understands. You know, they all, as much as they want to understand, as much as they want to be there for you, they don't really know what to say because most people haven't actually gone through this. So let's talk a little bit, before we talk about what you got sentenced to, let's talk a little bit about what you did to prepare. So you went out and hired a federal attorney. You had an appointed attorney that was given to you initially, and you decided after talking to a friend of the family who was also a federal attorney, you decided it was in your best interest to actually lawyer up and put some money up, and you ended up spending, what, about $15,000 for your attorney?
After all said and done, yeah, about 16,000.
Okay, so $16,000, what you ended up paying for your federal attorney. So after you took your plea, the next step was your pre-sentence report. How prepared did the attorney make you for that day, for what was going to take place and what you needed to do?
Basically, he just told me the day before, or maybe actually it was 2 days before, he said, just tell the truth and I'll be there if you have any questions. So basically, I was like not expecting anything except for what I heard, and then I talked to you and you told me exactly what they're gonna.
So what did you and I go through? What did I tell you there were some important key factors that you needed to be prepared for in that pre-sentence report?
You said be honest, tell the truth, all your past, whatever you had addictions to. You said don't be afraid to tell them anything.
And when it comes to, because we also did a lot of work with you with your personal narrative and your character reference letters, what did your attorney say when you told him you wanted to submit your personal narrative into the pre-sentence report?
He told me I didn't have to, and I told him that I wanted to. And so, without even getting permission from him, I asked the probation officer that was doing the report at the end of the PSR. I said, "Can I submit this into my report?" And he said, "Absolutely."
And what was the feedback you got from the probation officer that did this interview with you? What was the feedback you got a few weeks later on the report because of the personal narrative that you submitted?
He said he did a great job. He said he actually wanted to know who the prison consultant was that was guiding me through this. So I tried to get a little plug for you down there, but they won't let me put up the card.
Well, I appreciate it. But the point is, guys, is we talk about this so much in the videos on how important a personal narrative and your character reference letters are if they're done right. Now, Jay, so when you originally hired us back in January or February, when you originally hired us to help you with this, we'd given you samples. We told you what needs to go into your letter. We told you what to stay away from. But when we got your first draft, even with you knowing all of this, what did you, your friends, and your family submit to us?
Basically, we were pleading for the judge to go easy on us. And even though you told us not to, it's hard to write that on paper.
So regardless, because you knew not to put this stuff down on paper, we had this conversation. I remember talking to you for a good hour and a half before you were getting started on your writings. And yet when you submitted it to us, I remember looking at Shelly and Shayna going, did he not remember one word that we spoke about? We weren't upset about it because that's so typical. Almost every time we get letters back from clients that have got the samples They know what to say. They know what not to say. They still go down that road of begging and pleading and asking for mercy and give me a second chance and please, Your Honor, give me probation. And very rarely do we see probation in the federal system. So the last thing you want to do is ask the judge to give you probation when that's exactly what he's expecting you to ask. So you gave us these letters. We edited them. We made recommendations. We sent them back to you. And I remember you had a little bit of an issue going, man, I don't know. This is so different from, I agree with everything that's in here, but I feel like I need to ask the judge to give me probation. And I remember telling you, I was like, man, it's up to you. Ultimately, you're going to submit what you want to submit, but we do not recommend it. And you finally agreed to just go with the recommendation.
Yeah.
What other things, by you hiring us, when you started to look into what we do and what our work is all about, what are some other things that you incorporated? I know that you had some serious community service logged. You were involved in did from the time that you got indicted until the day that you finally got sentenced of just this past week.
I don't know. Can you see me? I just lost you.
Yep, you're still on.
All right. I don't know what happened. I can't see you, but I'm sorry. What was the question again?
So,
all right. I remember. Basically,
actually, it looks like I froze over here. Give it a second. Let me see if it picks back up. Wow, it froze with like the ugliest face possible.
I can see it on the YouTube.
Is it froze on your side?
No, just on. I can see myself on the screen. That's it.
What happened here? Son of a bitch. Hold on, Jay.
All right.
Froze up. What is up with YouTube? All right, let's see if it picks back up here. All right, I don't know what happened, guys. Sorry about that. Hopefully I didn't lose too many of you. Can you, is it streaming now, guys? Can everybody see me? Okay, it looks like we're back. I just got confirmation. Okay, so we were asking Jay. Basically, he was taking us through the steps of what he was doing. He posted some videos online. What did you do, Jay, that we came up with a game plan of what you needed to be doing, not only to look in front of the judge, but to help you deal with the downtime and the anxiety. So how involved did you get with taking classes, community service? Take us through some steps of what you did and how many hours and how many different classes that you actually completed.
All right. I went to counseling once a week. That was for basically court ordered. Well, besides the court order, I did community service down on a food bank farm on Saturdays, and then 2 days a week I would help out at a drug recovery center. It's called Inca Recovery. I volunteered over there, answering phones, making phone calls for people that haven't been in a while. Also, I go into NA meetings, and basically a lot of that I got from a testimony from one of your clients. Todd.
So you're referring to Todd Hansen, because Todd Hansen did a lot of this. So you saw the Todd Hansen video, and then after our conversations, you decided maybe these were some ideas and recommendations that you could incorporate into your own life. So how many community service hours would you say you had logged by the time you went in front of the judge last week or this past week?
Let's say over 52 and up, minimum 52 hours.
So you had 50 hours plus. I think you had about 120 community service hours, and you had about 50 hours in the NA groups.
Correct. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So 120 community service hours, 50 hours in the NA groups you were doing. You were doing weekly counseling that you were court ordered to do. You also started to build a mentor group. Who was involved in your mentor network?
You, my actually, believe it or not, my probation officer helped me out a lot, which I was surprised. One of my counselors at the place I was going to, and I had actually another counselor too that was more of a court ordered counselor, but it actually turned out to be a mentor to me.
So you've got all of this information now that you've been able to help to deal with the anxiety, and you're looking at getting 30 some odd months. So the first time you went to court, obviously we saw it in the video there, the judge didn't sentence you the first time you went to court a couple months ago. What happened during that day in court? How come the judge wasn't willing to sentence you that day?
Well, the prosecutor made his case. He said, I want the low end, the 33 months, and my lawyer did his talk, and basically the judge asked the prosecutor, by me putting him in prison for 33 months, what is that going to accomplish? How is that going to benefit him? And the prosecutor basically argued with the judge for 25 minutes, saying, "Oh, it will deter others from doing it, other people from buying a pill press. Just because you're a junkie, don't mean you get out of jail." And the judge said, "You make some good points, but he thinks that opiate addiction is a lot more serious, and you can't just detox somebody and put them in prison. How is that going to help them?" And after all said and done, after he argued for 25 minutes, the judge wasn't bullied by him and said that he wants to take some time and do some research on putting people in prison that have opiate addiction. How is that going to help them? So he suspended it for 60 days, and we had to wait for sentencing.
What was it like when you found out you had to wait an additional 60 days to find out what your sentence was going to be?
It was like putting a weight back on my shoulder. I kind of wanted to just get it over with. But at that point, I seen a little light at the tunnel. If the judge is willing maybe to give me a second chance, it put a little hope in me. Not a lot, but...
So now we go through all of this. You got 60 more days. You continue to push forward. You continue to give me calls. We continue to have our weekly conversations. You continue to do your community service. You continue to build your mentor group. The thing you never gave up on is you never gave up on hope. You knew you were going to get sentenced, but you figured, work as hard as I can. This way, that first night I'm sleeping in my bunk, I can look back and say, I didn't quit. You're leaving it all in the ring. You're never going to go, what if I had done this? What if I had tried this situation? You put everything into this that you could. So now let's jump forward to November 7th, last Tuesday. That's the day you actually received your sentence. What was going through your mind the day you were sitting in the courtroom on November 7th?
I was a nervous wreck. For some reason, I was more nervous this time than last time. My heart was going 100 miles an hour. And basically asked my lawyer before we walked in the courtroom, so what do you think? And he told me that he never seen this before, like sentencing get postponed on the day. Like the judge never continues sentencing. It's unheard of. So he didn't know what to expect.
So what was the prosecutor asking for? Did the prosecutor change their tone at all? Were they still after the 33 months?
Oh yeah, the judge came in. They said, "I'm just going to recap what happened last time. That's where we're at." And then he said, "Anything new from the prosecutor?" And the prosecutor says they still stand with the same 33-month recommendation. And then my lawyer said he recommends that I get stay in a kind of treatment, and if I have to go in, that I have some time before I have to turn myself in.
So basically your attorney was asking for you to be able to remain in treatment, and if you are going to be sentenced, to give you time to self-surrender, which is pretty typical. So now you're sweating. So what did the judge sentence you to? How much time?
All right, well, first he said the prosecutor made a great case, and he was very persuasive. And my heart was going. I said, "Oh, here we go." And then he said, "But," and as soon as he said "but," I felt a little relief. I was like, "Oh, maybe he's gonna go on my side now." And he said that he sentenced me to 5 years probation and 6 months of home arrest with 1,000 hours community service to do within 5 years.
So no prison time.
No prison time.
So you're sentenced to 6 months home confinement, 5 years federal probation.
Correct.
And what did he tell you would happen if you mess up?
That I'd be doing the whole 51 months.
So no low end. If you screw this up, you're going to go away for 51 months.
Correct.
What did the prosecutor say when you got sentenced to probation ultimately?
Well, before he sentenced me, he asked the prosecutor if he wanted to add anything in this time around. And he just kind of like smirked and said, "I'm just here to watch the show."
So here we are. This has got to feel like a massive victory to you. This is about as good as it gets to having your case dismissed or beaten the case.
Yeah, this is a win for me.
So you've already started your 6 months of house arrest, correct?
Correct. I got the bracelet within an hour from leaving the court.
So right now you're wearing an ankle monitor.
Correct.
I would ask you to show it, but you're probably not gymnastic flexible, right? Oh, look, he's going to show us the ankle bracelet, guys.
Can you see it?
Not yet. We can see your shin. Nope.
Hold on.
Oh, there we go. So there you guys go. There's his imposed sentence is 6 months home confinement, followed by 5 years of federal probation. And look, this doesn't happen for everybody. You know, we've seen it happen for a couple of other clients, but the point is we see that if you put in the work, the effort, if you take some guidance, if you realize that this is an area that so many of us, until we've gone through it, we don't know which roads, which paths, which direction to take. And if we just assume we're going to figure this out on our own without any guidance, without any assistance, there's a good chance that you're not going to get the end result that you're looking for. Jay never gave up. He's worked his ass off, but he's got the reward now. He can finally relax. He can start to put this behind him. And as long as he stays focused, keeps his nose clean, doesn't violate, he's not going to do a day of prison time. We got a question in here. This may sound stupid, but can you still work if you have a job? So are you allowed to go to work still?
Actually, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Judge, before he sentenced me, he said that my letter from the ones you guys fixed, well, not fixed, but he edited for me, my boss, his letter, meant a lot to him. So he said that because I'm working every day and I'm an asset to him, that went a lot to do with the judgment. So yes, you can work every day. I can go to counsel in the morning where I go, and then I go right to work, and I'm home by 1:30 every day.
So you can go to work. I'm sure you can put in passes if you need to go grocery shopping or go to church. Are you able to do any of that stuff? I'm sure there's stuff you can do. You just got to get permission to do it.
Yeah, he told me basically I can only work, but it was kind of brief. But he didn't go over everything with me. I still got some questions for him.
Okay. But it beats prison.
I got to give a schedule every week.
So it's very similar to when you're on home confinement in the halfway house. You got to produce a weekly schedule of where you're going to be, where you're going. So the judge actually commented. He actually told you, we read your letters. These were exceptionally good letters from your friends, your family, the letters from your boss. And that's why we take this time. That's why we put this initiative in to help you guys create these well-written narratives that aren't just begging. They're actually writing substance. They're action-based. It's showing what you've done to progress. If your letters look different from every other person that's gone in front of this judge, these are the type of results that you see happen. You see the judge kind of throw his hands up and go, wait a minute, we need to reevaluate what's going on, because we all want to say the system is broken. But what happens is 99% of people going through this, Jay, and everybody else is watching, is they go through the same footsteps that the people in front of them have gone through. And what they should be looking at is, hey, it didn't work for this person. This person got sentenced to prison. The person before them got sentenced to prison. So why not try something different? Why not take a different approach? And that's what our whole motto has been here at Federal Prison Time since day one was it's not working the way everybody's trying to go through these motions. What the attorneys are leading you to, we're not seeing results. We're seeing everybody getting incarcerated and then wanting to throw their hands up and blame the system, but they haven't taken a whole lot of responsibility and taken on what can they be doing while they're out on pretrial. If you're not remanded into custody right now and you're out on pretrial probation or you're still a target of an investigation, and you have the opportunity to go out and do things proactively on top of what your attorney's trying to do for you, why are you not doing this? This is why you should pick up your phone, give us a call, because we can actually give you some real life information that can put you onto a course of success. Jay, you've been an amazing client, and I really want to see you do the right thing. I was on house arrest for a period of time when I got released from the halfway house, and it does tend to get a little stressful and a little stir crazy, but keep reminding yourself, it's better than prison. And don't get complacent. Don't think, hey, I can walk to the end of the street, or I can run really quick to the store and they're not going to notice. Takes one time to screw everything up, and that judge sounds like he is not going to give you a second chance if you screw this. Basically, you just used your get out of jail free card that you created. You have anything to say to everybody that's watching right now, Jay?
I just want to tell everybody, if anybody don't think the letters make a difference, then you're absolutely wrong. Without those letters, I don't think I would be here today. Well, I'd be waiting to go to designated to a prison. So it definitely helps. So your personal narratives, all your letters, you got to have them in order. So if you need any kind of advice, call Dan.
And as much as I would love to take credit for you being on house arrest and probation sentenced, yes, we gave you some guidance, but man, you took the ball and you ran with it. You do what so many people do not do. We talk to people, we ask them where they're at in their situation, and even people that hire us that still haven't sat down and focused on their personal narratives and their character reference letters. They're doing this stuff after the pre-sentence report. If you're calling me before you've met with your probation officer for your pre-sentence report, this is the perfect time, because we can create such an impact for the day of sentencing. The one thing that we didn't really focus on is you got to remember, when that personal narrative is submitted into your pre-sentence report, what it's doing is it's giving the probation officer that ultimately is making a recommendation to the judge. It's giving that probation officer so much more information, so much more ammunition about who you are, what you've been doing with your time. And he's now going to be able to take that and decide, hey, what type of sentence should I recommend to this judge? So this judge had an ultimate amount of positive information to combat the version that the prosecutor was trying to create of just a drug addict that needed to go to prison. Clearly, this would have been easy to say, yeah, prosecution was asking for probation. Okay, the judge went along with it. The judge went against what the prosecutor wanted to do. There was no meeting in the middle. The judge was a good man who was able to think for himself and say, this person is not going to benefit by being in prison. We are not making the world a safer place by putting this person in prison. If Jay had not worked as hard as he's worked and taken the direction that he's taken, he just would have been at the court's mercy without the judge knowing what type of person he really was. Jay created a painting of who he was with action that created new habits of what he has accomplished to this very day. So thank you very much for coming on, Jay. I know we've been talking about this for a long time, waiting for this to wrap up, and we were all praying for probation. We all knew that it was possible, but we're so used to seeing people just get the book thrown at them that nobody really expected you to actually get it, including yourself. So amazing work, my man. You've done a great job, and you're inspiration for everybody that's watching these videos, because if he can do it, so can you. And if you don't get probation, at least you'll know you've done everything you could have possibly have done to try. Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Guys, if you have any questions for Jay, now's the time to ask. If you have anything specific that you want to know, I'll give you a couple more minutes here. We're into this video now for about 44 minutes. Not too bad. He's been an exceptional client, and I'm learning as I go. I wish I had done some of these things that I have all of you doing, because I feel like it could have made a difference in my own situation. But if I hadn't gone to prison, I might not be sitting here. So, there's a reason everything happens. Becky, can people who have state charges do the same thing? I don't think people have any idea about this. Absolutely. We have state clients as well. The only big difference is in state, there's some different circumstances as far as what programs you can take. But preparing to go in front of a judge, sentencing, what you do to prepare, the version of yourself that you create that for this judge to see, whether it's state or federal, you have to put in this work. So yes, absolutely, Becky, state can do this as well. Dan, what are the rules for house arrest? Can you leave at all? I think you heard Jay explain that. And Jay, they're still giving you the rules. I mean, you just got on it, so you're probably still learning what the rules and regulations of what you can and can't do. But it's GPS, correct?
He said it wasn't, but I kind of don't believe him. But it's a base unit in the house, and he had me walk around the perimeter of my house. Basically, I can't go outside past my porch, and I can't go past my garage. I can go anywhere in the house, though.
So you're not on GPS. You've got a unit that's plugged into your phone line, basically, that gives you a perimeter around the house. So I guess from certain times of the day on the work days, they allow you to go past that perimeter.
Yeah, I have a schedule. I can leave the house at 5:30 in the morning to go to work, and I got to be back in by 1:15 unless I have an appointment.
And I'm sure if you're running late or anything like that, you immediately got to call somebody and let them know, hey, I'm stuck behind a train or my car broke down. Worst thing you can do is just assume you'll explain later. It's call them on that spot. Don't just assume anything.
Correct. Actually, the first day I had it, I woke up Wednesday morning, and I spun it a little on my ankle to get my sock on. And he called me at 5:30 in the morning and said, "Did you bang your bracelet?" I said, "I just turned it a little." And he's like, "Oh, you gotta be careful." So I guess it's that sensitive.
Yeah, it's that sensitive, and look, they don't mess around with this stuff. There could be a lot of pissed off people right now that think that you should be in prison, and they're just waiting for you to make a mistake. So don't make yourself a target. Don't give them a reason. Walk that line. If you're unsure of something, pick up the phone and call. I know when I was on house arrest, or whatever you want to call it, home monitoring from the halfway house, man, anytime I was even 30 seconds late somewhere, or if I thought I was going to be late, I was calling up saying, hey, I'm here, I'm stuck here. And they were like, well, just let us know when you get there. Thank you for the call. Because the worst thing you can do is just assume, and then something bad happens and you're getting picked up 2 or 3 days later when you could have avoided this just by being proactive. So don't get complacent. Keep doing your community service. Now, you said you're also training to become, a counselor, correct?
A recovery coach.
A recovery coach. So, and this all started because you thought it would be a good idea to go do community service there, to look in front of the judge, and you ended up enjoying this, feeling that it gave you to give back. So now through all of this, you may be able to help youth or other people that are going through the same situation of what you're going through.
Exactly. There's all kinds of people. The alcoholics, people addicted to gambling, drugs, anything.
Guys, you never know where this journey is going to lead, and that's why we talk about this so often on saying that this can be an experience. This does not have to be the end of your life. Whether you get probation or you get a prison sentence, if you have a release date, there's hope for you. You can turn your life around, and you can make this a positive experience that you can share with the world, that other people can benefit from, so they don't have to make the same mistakes that you made. Becky, absolutely. I see you said you have a friend here that you're going to have reach out to me for her son. What's the worst that can happen? They can get some good information on the phone that might be able to help them. Not everybody's going to become a client. So again, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. Jay, I'm glad that this journey is partly over. Now a new journey begins. We'll definitely keep in touch with you. We'll probably have you come on in a couple of months when you're getting ready to get off of house arrest, letting people know what struggles there were there, what probation's like. Because, look, there's going to be questions that you're going to have, and you're going to have the answers as you go through this. So, guys, thank you again. I love every single one of you. Jay, I will give you a call after the show. Guys, every day, people helping people one day at a time. Community is method. I'm RDAPdan. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video. If you know somebody that's going through this situation, show them this video, because this is a true life testimony of what hard work and dedication does ultimately in the end. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Go out and do something nice for somebody, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Peace.